Hi, Mark. Big session this one. Really good progress. What we're seeing here, obviously on the top left, was just still a little bit too much flexing forward, extending better than your previous session, trying to tuck the hips better than your previous session, but just maybe not getting enough hip slide in. Hence that sort of steep angle of attack as you're coming in, and you can see again that club still, it's shallower than it was. It used to come through your neck. It's now coming just below the right shoulder, but still a little bit too close to that lead arm for my liking at that point. When we look at it from face on, the big thing we saw was this right knee really flexing forward, flexing in, and as a result encouraging the body to unwind far too quickly. So the act of rotating, or the act of flexing the right knee, yeah, it's sort of chicken and egg scenario. Is it the right knee that's flexing, causing the hips to open up, or is it the act of trying to open up the hips that's causing the right knee to flex? At the end of the day, the rate of rotation needs to be retarded somewhat. So the key feel for you was, and we looked from P4 to P5. Now it's very important that when you're practicing this, you just practice it from P4 to P5. So the feeling is, or the thought is, from P4 to P5 without letting the right knee flex. So that's the feel. P4 to P5 without letting the right knee flex. You can see when you do that, the hips aren't opening up and arriving in a much better position, or albeit an emphasised position, a much more appropriate position in regards to what you're looking at. We've not talked about hip slide there, but the act of keeping this right knee, if you will, straight, or preventing it from flexing further as you change direction, is starting to push the hips forward more and creating much more axis tilt here, which in turn is going to give you a little bit of a shallower angle of descent into the golf ball. When we looked at it from face on at the end of your session, you know, we said jokingly on the forum on Facebook, you know, is that different to the eye? I mean, it couldn't be further from the original swing if you tried, to be honest with you. Much better look coming into the golf ball. If we look at it from down the line, the shaft of the golf club now starting to work a little bit more below the right shoulder, and at this point now starting to get between the forearms as opposed to favouring that lead arm. If we play all the swings down to 6, so ignore the one on the top right, which is your feel. If we play the other 4 swings down to P6, just match these up for you. We can see there's a definite change from down the line. There's a definite change from face on. And if we just run these through, right heel working differently from down the line, angle of approach different. From face on, look how much more forward the handle looks, even though it's actually not leaning that much further forward. Legs working completely differently from face on. Handle location in relation to the body looks completely different. The difference between upper and lower centre is starting to change as well, shallowing out the angle of descent, tilts in the shoulders, the eyes. Overall, a much more effective golf swing. Softer right arm at impact, something else we discussed. And the finish from face on, much less rotation, much more tuck. So the keys from that lesson are, first, the feel on the top right from P4 to P5 without letting the right knee flex, and then the thought in the finish, if you will, on the bottom right, is more tuck, less turn. Things are moving really, really nicely, Mark. Look forward to watching it progress. Well done. See you soon.